All right, episode 2 of the rebirth of Tiffany. And if you'll remember, guys, we left off, we just got this new sweet motor built, got it back from Engine Supply, put it together with Toby at Advanced Engine Dynamics. And now I need to make space in Tiffany for that new motor. So we're gonna get the old motor out, get her all cleaned up, and start transferring parts over to the new motor and get her stabbed in there today. So it's weird going through stuff I haven't looked at in half a decade, but for a guy who didn't know what he was doing, it works. Guys, that oil looks amazing. So you know I ran Torco and I run Torco, but that is 5 years and it is just beautiful. Baja update. It's actually mealtime. Fast and have for 5 years. And that's what I'm doing. I'm breaking fast. I'm having the hardest time quitting sugar though. Right now I'm eating burgers. But sugar cravings killing me. Tomorrow we'll bust this off. You'll see the ACT that's in there, but we got a new surprise. Then we'll transfer everything over. Yeah, and legitness. I'm having a crisis of conscience right now because I really want to go get torta from Antonio's, but I've been trying to stay locked in for this last 4 months of the year, see how far we can, see what we can get done. Man, I really want one. You know it's a good day when you pull off a trans and you see this yellow from ACT. Not even used. All the clutch kicks and that thing still looks great. So before we can actually just mate up this transmission and stab this super sweet new motor we just built into Tiffany's engine bay, we have a little bit of things left to do, and it's basically just transferring over any of the parts required to run that are still on the old motor onto the new motor. And that consists of our timing gear and setup, as well as the timing rear housing and front housings. And then we need to go ahead and put it all together and time the motor. Now, we're locking in the crank bolt. So when you're setting timing, and that's your exhaust cam and your intake cam, the key points you want to end up with is this point on the I pointing up. You want the E on the exhaust side pointing up. You want the I on the exhaust side pointing down towards this little divot in, the back of the timing tray. And then over here you want the E pointing down, because these are the same pulleys. So you just bolt everything, you torque everything down the way you're supposed to, then you're gonna line up these. We use 2 wrenches. Then you take a set of vice grips after it's set where it needs to go, and you just clamp them together. That'll keep them from moving. Then you're able to line up this mark right there. So you'll line up those 2 marks. So you'll see one in the timing gear and then one in the oil pump. So if these are all lined up, you'll have your belt tight on this side. Come around here, because this is static. That's not moving anywhere. Around here, you're gonna go ahead and slide this all over at once, and this will already have been pulled back and tightened, so there's as much play in the belt as possible. Once that happens, you'll release this, give it a little tighten, and what you're hoping to have is 19 teeth between these 2 dots here, between this one and this one. So we'll go ahead, So we go ahead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So if you have 19 teeth between these two and everything's matched up, then you're good to go. So now you release your cams, and your test is to go ahead and rotate the engine. And you're gonna wanna just hope that everything lines back up, which in our case, it does. See, we're good to go. So timing is set. Now you guys know. So we'll close that up, make sure everything's torqued down, which this is. This will torque down. Let's just go ahead and mark them all right now. Yeah, I guess I could have just Googled it, but also I'm trying to switch to all of these sensors. So I'm pretty sure that's the NOx sensor. Pretty sure this is the oil sensor. If you remember, I had 1.6 before, and we switched to all the 1.6. I'm pretty sure this is cam position, and then this is crank sensor. But I have a better than Google. His name is Brandon. You need to get a stud out, and you want to reuse it, so you don't want to use vice grips or something like that. You can take two nuts, then you thread them on, and then you tighten them to each other, right? So now they're tied up against each other, and then you're taking it out, grab the back one, you're threading it out so it would be threading against this one. And Bob's your uncle. So we're gonna take this back off and do it to 4 more of these. I thought I was moving on to installing the intake manifold and the new ACT flywheel and clutch. We're not doing that just yet because we need to weld this manifold. There's a crack and there's oil seeping out of this. This thing is a racing beat. It's nice, but it hits in a couple spots, and eventually I'll want to do something else. So I was like, we'll just MIG weld it, which means it's going to rust and it's not going to last very long. So as you guys can see, I've chosen to go with MIG. There's many reasons for that. Nope. I'm looking at the crack actually goes all the way around. It's barely even in one piece. We're just gonna lay down a bunch of metal. Looks like it might be mild steel that was chrome plated anyways, so should be good, maybe. So that's blowing off the shielding gas, which with MIG is 25% CO2, and this is definitely not mild steel, it looks like. For now, we're done. So I think that's it. It's just final assembly now. So building race cars and just fun cars is a lot of fun, but it can be stressful. So luckily for me, my friends over at Zuru X-Shot just sent me the new X-Shot Pro Skin. What it is it's a semi-auto and automatic rifle that shoots little foam bullets. This has a bearing scarf barrel, so it actually makes these little foam darts rotate. Comes with a clip, drops, two ways to drop it. So quick, if you had multiples, like I'm gonna get like a vest and have them, you can drop and already have your new one, put it in, charge it. But to blow off a little steam, luckily for me, they sent one out. And this thing's pretty impressive. Thank you, Zuru X-Shot, with a new Skin Pro automatic rifle, and I'm ready to get back to work. So what we have is the Fast Forward intake manifold here. And what this is different than all the other Miata superchargers is this is a cold side supercharger. On the Jackson, which is the only other supercharger I'm aware of, there might be another one, but I'm not aware of it. It is mounted over here and then runs through an intercooler and goes into the stock intake that is on this side. So what Fast Forward did is they remade the entire intake manifold. So basically it's just a plenum that you can bolt the head unit onto and run everything off this side. Now what's different is there's no intercooler. So when you compress air, you're bringing molecules in tight, and then that causes friction, that creates heat. Well, as the hotter your air gets, the less dense the oxygen is, which means the less amount of oxygen and fuel you can cram into your motor. So ideally you would like to have the coolest amount of intake temperature as possible so you can get the richest oxygen, you can shove the most amount of fuel in there, and then bing, boom, bop, power out the backside, right? So what we do in the superchargers here is we actually fog the screw. But if we go here over here to the head unit, you can see right there is a hole. Well, that hole has a thread-in injector, 1200 cc injector, and we run ethanol. And so what happens is, once it goes under boost pressure, this starts shooting ethanol. Well, actually in the original system, it's just doing it all the time. It'll be just fogging the screws that are in here with ethanol. Ethanol is the second most efficient evaporative cooling liquid, first being methanol. They do in boosted applications, they use methanol injection in order to cool the charge air. Again, same things we talked about, plus it burns and all that kind of thing, right? Burns actually with no flame, which is why it's so dangerous. It's why everybody who's running full methanol blown vehicles are wearing masks and everything and ventilators, because you can't tell it's there and you wouldn't know you're on fire except for you'd be on fire. So anyways, you have to mix methanol properly. You got to add the water depending on where your elevation is, depending on temperature and climate throughout the day. So you'd constantly be having to have a whole person just manage that thing. And what Tom didn't want is that. He built this to do endurance 24-hour races in the Miata. He wanted to minimize the things and systems that you had to actually monitor and then manage. And one of those being, you know, your charge air. The turboed Miatas get eventually what's called heat sink. And then after a certain amount of time in that endurance race, efficiency just goes way down and ends up causing damages to the cars. He wanted to solve that and wanted one problem. When you run out of fuel, you run out of charge air heating problems, you run out of everything because the motor's not running anymore, right? But if it was methanol, if there was intercooler, if it was these other kind of things, you either get heat sink, you're gonna have to monitor your methanol system, or his system, you just keep going, make sure you keep the fuel in there, make sure that it's a good E85, and you're good to go. It also runs off of gasoline, but only to a certain horsepower range. And that again, same reason we do it with all the other stuff with octane, why people go to E85. But anyways, that's what this kit does. But actually what I have to do here is put this on, and before it's all the way slid in, I can't get all the nuts in. So I gotta put a couple on, let it hang, let my nuts hang, and then be able to thread them all in. And I'm doing it now so that I can actually sit down here and get to those. We're gonna Loctite them all. We're gonna torque them all really good. Now that I have it on there and there's still a gap behind there, I'm able to slide these in and just get a thread on them. Then I can put the Loctite on it. You see how that gap comes back up? So I got all these on here. Then I'll drop a drip of Loctite in there, and then we'll tighten them up. Now, maybe what I want to do actually is put Loctite in the nut. I don't know. We'll risk it. I want this with the knurl on it. See, I want that one back here, and there's a reason for it. It's the hardest one to get to. To get back to it, you got to get back to this point. So, next step, Loctite what we can Loctite. And we'll tighten it all in, and then we'll put the oil cooler and housing on, reroute on there. So everything in here is done. All the lines are connected. All the sensors are in, tucked up out of the way so they don't get stuck while mating into the trans. Brackets, we found bolts. We're gonna set this on the ground, get onto the clutch. To introduce you guys to ACT, if you don't already know, I have been a huge fan of ACT clutches. That's advanced clutch technology. Proof here is every one of these single cars in here, all 5 of these cars runs ACT because we're abusive to the vehicles and they know it, and they've prepared products that allow us to go above and beyond what stock car parts can do, knowing what we do and knowing how much we have on the line. Then you top it off with their customer service and support and knowledge on the back end and the front end. If you're getting ready to build a project, you can ask them all the questions. As soon as you get what you need, they'll make sure you know how to set it up. What I'm excited to see, because I don't know the exact differences, there's a weight difference, but we have a rebuilt clutch and flywheel that we took off of Tiffany a while back. We sent that out to ACT, and I believe this one here is the old rebuilt one, and this one here is the new lightweight Johnny. Yes, it's the clutch and flywheel. This is the extreme, and this is the flywheel. And I can already tell how much lighter this one is. So this is our pressure plate, new one, and some new stickers. So this is the Street Performance clutch disc from ACT. We're gonna be matching all 3 of these together, putting it on that, putting it in here, and we better hurry because Brandon's coming. Good news, dudes. O'Reilly's can get me the clutch alignment tool tomorrow, 10 a.m. We got the wrong one yesterday, and now we have the right clutch alignment tool today. Bright and early, first thing, and we went and got the right clutch alignment tool. Well, yesterday we got this one. We got the guy she told you not to worry about, and what we needed was what you guys are actually packing, and we got it. So now we have this. We're just gonna go ahead and install our brand new ACT lightweight flywheel for the Miata, new pressure plate, and our rebuilt clutch disc. And what's cool about this is you'll spend the money on all of these things and you're gonna wear this wear part out. It's the clutch disc gonna happen. When you need to service your trans, what I love about ACT is you can actually just pull your flywheel off, pull everything, pressure plate, send it back to them, have them tune it up. They'll put new wear discs on the clutch disc, as well as they can surface and confirm that your flywheel is actually good. And if it's not, they're the ones that'll know. You won't find out after you reinstall everything. So I do that, they do that for me. And this clutch disc had been run before. Everything's been checked out and we got new pads on there. So we got that. Now it's time. Put this bearing in. And just take a little socket. Installed. We got our new ACT flywheel, new clutch, everything aligned. We're just gonna end up mating up the transmission. We do have a motor right here. Not only do we have a motor right here, we have a special guest, Brandon. Buenos dias, dudes. Update. That happened. It's all because of him. The guilt made me actually get out here and do that last night. Well, you guys, look at that. It's the end of the video, and I'm sure most of you guys have signed off, but take a moment and look how nice and easily this motor slides into Tiffany's engine bay with a tube front. What we have coming up next is we try to wire in a 99 harness to an 89 harness to a link ECU and do it as cheap as possible. So wish us luck and come back to watch that video.